Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Video Game Fight School channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. So what I want to try to achieve in this video, and I know it's a weird loading screen, is kind of voice a little bit of my concern regarding the Gotham Knights combat that we've seen so far. Now, before I jump into this, I will get the complaints or the concerns saying the Arkham combats were not realistic. They seemed kind of cartoony. They weren't really, in a sense, fulfilling or whatever it is. But I want to say, let us just hold off for a minute and let's look at the merits of the Arkham combat and look at what Gotham Knights has presented and potentially see where it may be beneficial if the Gotham Knights game could really improve upon the aesthetics and some of the impact effects that come with the combat in the Arkham games and use that as a drawing point, and also talk about other applications that have also netted a lot of success in the industry. Now, it sounds like an earful. So what am I talking about? So Batgirl is about to go into combat in this clip, and she's about to start doing some melee combat. Now, I'll tell you that as somebody who enjoys combat in games, one thing that really makes a whole lot of sense is impact sounds and impact effects really provide a lot of satisfaction to a specific, encounter. So I play Mortal Kombat 11 extensively. In fact, I sit here watching MK11 videos all the time. This is one of my favorite things to do. I like to watch, Evo tournaments and streams, and I play myself as well whenever I have the time, especially these days, just working on different projects. And I can tell you that if hit, impacts are not satisfying, it really does take away from the combat. Another example that I can give you guys is a video game called Rise, Son of Rome. Now, this is an old video game that I've been wanting to play for the longest time. I just didn't have the time, nor did I remember. And because it was an Xbox and PC exclusive, it just kind of, hid a long time away from me. But I finally got a hold of this game, and I have been playing it. The combat is very repetitive, but you cannot take away the one thing this game does excellently well, which is the impact and the impact effects, impact sounds, and impact feedback and response. These are very important things to any aspect of combat in a video game. So that's where I'm coming from. And I'm saying that so far from what we've seen in Gotham Knights, it doesn't necessarily seem like we have those things, even though they were in the Arkham games. Now, I'll go back and further buttress my point by playing a little bit of the Arkham Knight fight sequences and using Batgirl as well. Not just using any character, but actually Batgirl. And we're going to take a look and see if, Warner Brothers Games Montreal is really paying a lot of attention to, what fans may be expecting in terms of combat. So the AR challenges provide you a whole bunch of stuff. So this is, let's just go to Teen Titan. And, Teen Titan is one of the maps that's very well lit. And so we'll be able to see some of the things that I'm highlighting in this particular video. Okay, so first of all, Teen Titan is one of the the AR combat maps. Another thing too is I'm playing this on a PC, and the graphics are supposedly kind of better. So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt, saying if they were going to show this at a DC Fandom event, they would have probably been using the best rendered settings they probably could. Now, look at every time she hits an enemy character. There's just this weird effect, in terms of visuals. And then if you even were to even talk about sound, they also do such a very good job in terms of the sound that all of this stuff brings together. So you notice, boom. Now let her do this takedown. Boom, boom, boom. You see there's like this dust, and there are different colors as well that make for it to be quite dynamic and interesting when she's fighting. And sometimes you don't see the sounds because they're quite, in my opinion, random, and that actually makes it really interesting. So it doesn't make everything really generic, in terms of the way she does her combat. But when she hits somebody, man, you feel it, and so all of these effects are really huge in the Arkham Knight game. Now, why am I using Arkham Knight? And I know many people may say, but Warner Brothers Games Montreal did not develop Arkham Knight. I get it. They actually did do some of the DLC though. So they have some of those game files and stuff. But if you look at the combat here, the impact effects don't necessarily seem satisfying. And these are my preferences, by the way. So this may be different to you. So when she's hitting this person, just like these little sparks coming away from her baton, potentially that's probably what her baton's doing, and the effects that they're actually bringing. But these effects don't necessarily seem to me as something that will come out of a AAA studio that's going to make a Batman game that's following Arkham Knight. So this is a very genuine concern if you were to ask me. And I'll be like, man, I mean, I understand that, Warner Brothers Games Montreal wants to, create their own unique experience. But there is something to be said about standing on the shoulders of those who have gone ahead of you. And let's look at Spider-Man, for example. Let's look at Marvel Spider-Man. If Arkham was something that you really wanted to just deviate from its combat formula in terms of implementing, some of the specifics in game design, then why did the Insomniac team basically follow its formula to the T and enjoy so much success from it? If you've played the Spider-Man games, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Flashy VFX, satisfying impact in terms of visual effects. Now, sound, I think the Spider-Man games are lacking, don't get me wrong, but in terms of VFX, in terms of impact, and in terms of the feedback that you're getting from the combat, I think they nailed it down so well. And from what we're seeing in this particular trailer, I don't know if they ship this game like this, if this game is released like this, it may really disappoint the fans. In fact, the fans may find themselves going back to play the other games for combat, if you notice what I mean. So again, these are some of the really interesting things. Now, another thing too that I have to say, and this is a game design specific, really, really deep in game design world, is using the camera very well. You see, the person who played this, sequence, which I know this is a gameplay sequence from probably somebody in a development team, I don't know if they missed the opportunity to tell the fighting story with the camera. There's something good about a camera and a control system that really makes a game what it is. So in game development world, there's a role called a lead 3C designer. This is somebody that leads a team to actually develop the character, the controls, and the camera of your game. That's basically what a lead 3 designer does, or lead 3 teams in terms of 3C teams. That's what they do. Now look at the way the Arkham combat flows when you're fighting. You can actually tell a story with the way you're playing this particular sequence. I can just pretty much zoom in. You see that? I actually moved the camera there to tell you that I was about to take this fool out. So I can just sit here. See me, I'm controlling my camera very well, and I want to tell this story. I'm taking this guy down. I wanted to pound his face into the ground. See, look at what's going on with them. And I'm doing the camera work because I want to see all that happen. I want to see that takedown in real time. Again, see. So this is something that I feel that Gotham Knights right now is missing big time from what we've seen. And I understand and I know that eventually this is something that is going to be improved upon. And by the way, sorry if my speech is breaking. It's because I'm playing in real time while I'm actually discussing these things with you guys. So again, these are some real interesting specifics that combat games, have to get very well. And the combat doesn't have to be super, full of all kinds of dynamics and all. It just has to do enough, to make the combat fun so that when you engage in it, you at least are enjoying the process. And so that's all I just wanted to go ahead and showcase in terms of what I think right now we need to see in Gotham Knights. Because yes, the story is amazing. The entire premise I think is amazing. I think it's interesting. They want to bring the Knights together. They want to have them probably resolve an issue, maybe find the Batman, maybe establish their own self and their own credibility. But the way they're going to do that is being able to take on adversity head on via combat and via using their own tactics and their own tricks, regardless of the characters that they are. And so I think this is something that the developers need to bring to the forefront of their advertising and their marketing. Also, I have to finish this video by saying we've only received a very limited amount of information before the DC Fandom event. And I get it. And I want to make sure that that's clear. So there might be more that I haven't seen yet, but I'm just saying that I wish that they will put more of their best foot forward in order to make this process a more interesting process, or at least gain feedback. Because from now all the way through, when it comes out in 2020, they can restructure the combat. I play a lot around in Unreal Engine 4, and I can tell you that if they have the gameplay framework done, animations and visual effects, yes, they will take time. These things can be restructured in a sense. Now, it will be very costly to go back and do some things, but what I've noticed is a lot of the fan base will respond very well to what you've had in the Arkham games because that formula, I think, works. So this is my humble opinion. I might be a little off, but I just wanted to share it with you guys because, I just thought it was a little unsettling right now for me not to have decided, to actually put this opinion out there. Because again, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is going to feature all those fun things that you loved in the Arkham games. And Rocksteady is definitely not going to hold back any punches. So you're going to see a huge competition, and you're going to see people actually gravitate to the Suicide games because it highlights some of those, concepts, and they're going to want to use it. But until then, we'll just keep this conversation at a stop for now. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think about all of this? Do you think I'm just basically pointing out to something so minuscule that's not really a big deal? Or do you think it's important enough that the developers ought to at least continue to take a look at it? Or it's probably what they've been taking a look at since all of this silence. Talk to me in the comment section. I'll see you guys soon. Peace out.